Let's go ahead and add some dirt on our outfit here. He is an explorer after all, so he likes to climb the canyons, mountains, explore and travel. So he sees Drake from Uncharted, right? And so he's gonna be a little dirty. His outfit's gonna be dirty, he's gonna look worn. And we wanna add a little bit more of that discoloration on his outfit. And I think to do that, we could go ahead and just create a brand new layer all the way at the top here, the toppest part. Make sure you're on the outfit, texture set, create a new fill layer. And we could go ahead and call it a discoloration. Alright. And I think for this one, we could go ahead and make it like a light brown color. So maybe sandy dirt color. Something like that. And remember, dirt does not have shininess. So we could scroll down. You see the roughness? We could crank it all the way up. Alright. And we don't want dirt everywhere, okay? We want dirt everywhere, but we just don't want it like painted on like that. So we have to right click, add black mask, and then right click and add a generator. And then on that generator properties, click on it, and then you're gonna find the dirt option here. There's dirt dripping. You could mess around with any of these. If you don't see the dirt, make sure you type in generator and then dirt. But you don't really need to. I think when you click on it, you should see it. So dirt right there. All right, and I think the holster might be a little too dark. So my leather here is too dark. So I'm gonna go ahead and go down to my leather area, and I'm gonna go bring down the color, like make it lighter. So I'm gonna make it lighter. Okay, something like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and maybe a little lighter, just a little lighter. That's a little too much. Maybe something like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and copy that color code and then put it here because I have two of those, remember? Paste it. And I think maybe I could I'm gonna go over here to my leather holster, and I think I could make it even more saturated and then lighter like that. Okay, I'm gonna copy that and then do the same thing for the other one. So remember, I have two leathers here. There you go. Okay, that's good because we don't want to have too much of the same tone with the shirt and the holster. We want our character to pop out. So a good way to do this is imagine your character in black and white. So you want mid-tone, light tone, dark tone. Okay, so when we added the dirt, so I have the discoloration right here, it created the dirt all around the edges, so on the crevices, right? That's how the generator works. It goes and look at all the edges there and try to accumulate the dirt in those areas also. So I don't really want those dirt to show up there. So we could go to our discoloration, our dirt layer, go to the mask, and then go to the dirt, right click and add paint. And make sure you have symmetry turned on. Let's go to our brush and let's use one of our dirt brushes. You could play around with any of the dirt brushes here, but I generally like to use dirt. One gives us more variance. And I'm gonna press X on my keyboard and then just remove some of these. I have stroke opacity at 100. I'm painting this here, and in order to remove this, using my stylus pen, I feel like I have to keep on painting the same spot over and over again. I think if I use my mouse for this, so let me try my mouse. I think my mouse, it removes it faster. Yep. I don't have to keep on painting over and over again. And of course, the stylus pen is still useful. Like, I'm only going to do using the mouse for the edges here, and then for the rest of it, I'm going to go back to my stylus pen. It's just erasing with the mouse is faster. Okay, and I'm also going to go in this direction and just remove this area. Also here, it just looked like it's been painting on around this part here. So I'm going to remove those. Move these. Okay, and also here. So looking under, and also around this area. So we don't want him to look like he's been playing with the sand too much. And also on the shoe, too much. Of course, the shoe is going to have more dirt than the rest of the parts of the outfit because he's constantly stepping on ground, right? But for now, I'm going to remove some of these. Now I think I could go back to my stylus pen and I could make more subtle removal of the dirt. Some good press. I have to go ahead and remove some of these subtly. Some of them could stay there, which is fine. And I think I could add a bit more dirt at the bottom. I'm going to press X to go to white. And I could go ahead and make some of these dirt here show up at the bottom part. Which would make more sense, right? And also we could show a bit more in the pants area at the bottom. And here, you don't really want too much here in the inner part either. Remove some of these here. Keep in mind that I am still on my symmetry turn on. So removing some of these just so that we have very subtle dirt going on, not too much. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and look at my lighting. Hold shift and drag. I think the crease is a little too much for our shirt. So I'm going to go to my smart material for my shirt, which is the fabric linen worn right here. I'm going to go and actually rename this. Make sure you get in the habit of renaming your layers, especially if you have a bunch of them. I'm going to call it shirt, fabric linen worn. Okay, so inside that folder, I have a fabric crease folder there. So this is a smart material and it has a lot of options here we can mess around with. And it has the crease right here. Alright, so it has the thumbnail for the creases and then it has a masking for the creases. And it has this right here, a generator on there. So let's click on the generator and you could adjust the global balance. You could adjust it. So let's go and mess around with it. Alright, so yeah, if you crank it all the way up, you can see more of the crease. If you bring it down, you could see more subtlety. So I think I don't want it too much like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and I want it to show a little bit, but not too much. Maybe it could act as a memory fold. Yeah, something like that would be great. And let's go and see what we have. We do a little render test here so far. A little render test. Let's go and do that. Looking nice. And I could go mess around with the environment. I always like to mess around with the environment. Let's see what other studio lights we have here. If I go here, look at that. He looks like he's in a professional studio photography environment. The cave is the most realistic one, I think, in my opinion. So looking at the rest of the studio. You know what? I'm gonna set it back to studio. I think this here. Yeah, I kind of like that. So remember, if you're painting, you want to keep it at black and white. Yeah, I think I kind of like that there. Let's see how it looks like with the paint in the paint mode. Ooh, I think it's too bright. So I'm gonna go back. I think I'm gonna go back to my old one, Studio 6. Sometimes I do change it depending on what I'm painting on, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and set it to back to Studio 06. Not too dark, not too light either. So you want a neutral lighting here, because you don't want the place to be too bright, and then you're painting a skin that is way too dark because you thought that it's not dark enough because the lighting is making it overexposed. So you don't want to overexpose lighting. I think something like this would be fine. We got the dirt on there, and I think this has a little too much dirt, and yeah, I think I want to go and deal with this one. It's a little too much dirt there, so I'm gonna go ahead and adjust it some more. I'm gonna go to my paint. I'm gonna go ahead and turn out my symmetry at this point, and right now it's kind of loading. The more and more layers you have here, the more you're gonna experience a little bit of lag. And also here, maybe it's a little too much. Okay, cool. And I think maybe the buckles here might be a bit too much dirt. I'm going to turn on the symmetry for this one as I get rid of some of the dirt here. I do want it to be rusty, but not that rusty. Another thing that I want to do here is add the steel. I want to add the steel material here, right? And I think the fastest way to do that is by going back to Blender, and we could add an ID map on the face, an ID color, vertex color, my bad. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the tab key. So I think we could select some of the polygons and add the same vertex color that we have for our buckle. So that way it will take that same steel material when we put it back in Blender. I'm going to go hit the tab key. So I want to first create another edge loop. So somewhere around here, maybe where we have that nice crease, hit the tab key. And add another one right here. Maybe just scale it down. Ooh. Scale it a bit. It's just a note for myself of to where I'm going to select the faces. And here. So maybe around this area. And scale it down slightly. Then looking over here. So maybe around this area. I'm going to add the loop. Scale it down slightly. Ooh, too much. You don't want like some weird shading issues either. And I'm gonna go and copy that. Go. And I'm gonna go and scale it. Alright. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, something like that. Okay. And over here, I'm gonna double click. Go. Alright. Now we could go ahead and select some of the edges. Here, here, here. So the ones that we could select all around, we could go ahead and select those and then do an edge ring. Also here. And here also. Edge ring. Vertex face. Go. So we got those selected. Now we could go press C. Maybe you could crank up the brush size by scrolling your mouse and press enter. press C. Okay, and then just go ahead and paint. Hit escape on your keyboard. Same here. And last but not least is this part right here. Okay, so after those are selected, we could go Control Tab and go to Vertex Paint, and very important to click on the face. In order for this to work, go to Face, and then we could use the same color as this. Now we could go ahead and go to Flat first to make sure that we're actually selecting the same color. And let's go to our primary color right there and use the eyedropper to sample that color. And go ahead and turn off Flat, back to Matte Gap, and Paint, set Vertex Color. And there you go. It's the same color as this right here. And back to Object Mode. So we gotta go ahead and export this out again. Select everything, press A to select everything, and then export, and export FBX. I'm gonna make sure, export FBX. There you go, selected objects, and then I'm gonna go save it here, replace that file, and once again, let's go ahead and re-import the mesh. Okay, now we have to rebake the outfit texture setting here. Let's go to our texture set here for our outfit, texture set settings, and let's go to our bake mesh maps right here. And make sure that you only have the outfit and also the ID right there selected, and then click on bake selected textures and just wait for a bit. There you go, and then return to painting mode. And as you can see now that the steel material that's applied here, it's also applied on this right here because it has the same vertex color. Very important. Okay. And let's see what else, if there's any steel that we could add there. Oh yeah, another thing that we forgot to add is going to be this part right here of the shirt. So it looks empty, the front part, so we have something that's kind of open to show a little bit of his chest, and it doesn't make sense because we need to have something like that. Even if you look at Frank Zhang's artwork here, there's something like this also. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add that. To make that part of the shirt around this area here, we could go to our shirt part. Let's go to our smart material for our shirt, which is the shirt fabric linen right here. So open up that folder. So that material, that smart material, is assigned to all parts of the shirt. Since we are going to have, we want to give the illusion of a few buttons here and there. I think I'm going to add one here, here, and here. And then 1, 2, and then 3. So this is supposed to connect there. And then none over here. So I'm going to add those. And since we're going to have those, we don't want the fabric linen worn to show on those areas. So this is where we have to create another paint mask for our smart material. So on our shirt smart material, you're going to go to the mask section and onto the color selection here, right click and add paint. And then we could go use our basic hard brush. And I'm going to turn off symmetry because this is not symmetrical at all. Bring down the brush size, so maybe 0.9 would be fine. I think that's fine, 0.93. So I'm gonna go and maybe add one right here. Okay, once again, it's not the same brush size as we see visually here. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to go to my minimum size for my properties here and crank that all the way up. So now if I click here, it would be the same size as we see visually. Then I'm going to set this to, 0.93 would be fine. Right there. Okay, and then maybe one right here and one right here. Okay, and I think I want it more in the middle. Okay, and then I'm gonna add one right here and one right here and one right, I think it's too close, maybe something like this, and one right here. Alright, so after that, you know what, I think I'm gonna go ahead and, there you go. Alright, I want to make it perfect. There you go. Nothing's really perfect, but yeah, there you go. Now, we could go and add, maybe I could add some of the, now the color, we got to add a color for this, right? So I know this is going to be made out of steel. So I'm going to go ahead and create a brand new fill layer on top of that Smart Material fabric linen layer. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and set it to a darker tone. And I'm going to make it metallic. And then roughness, bring it down. Here you go. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a black mask. And then right click and add a paint. And we could go ahead and show it on the areas where we have unmasked the parts for our linen. Also here. And also here. Okay, great. Now, I think we could go ahead and rename this. I'm going to call this button. I'm going to call it shirt button color. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go and hide this for now. So for the fabric linen here, we could go to our paint. And I'm going to set this to black. Bring down the brush size. Maybe I could set this to 0.4. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to set it to 0.43. I'm going to press X and show the fabric here. So it looks like there's more of a tube on there, illusion of a tube. Oops, what did I select? And drag this to the left here. Yeah, I think that's fine. And I'm gonna go back here. And then here, I'm gonna zoom in. Alright. So now, I'm gonna go turn on my shirt button. And I'm gonna go to my paint here. I'm gonna press X and I want to hide this part. Hide this part here. And hide this part there. And I want to create a protrusion here, an illusion of a protrusion. I'm going to create a brand new layer. And I'm going to set this to, I think, a little bit of grayish tone. And then add a black mask. And then I'm going to go and add a paint. And I'm going to go ahead for each of these. I'm going to go set this to 0.3. You know what, I'm going to set it to 0.25 and add one here, add one right here, and one right here. And then I'm gonna go to my first thumbnail and I'm gonna go and crank up the height. Alright, so we got an illusion that we have an extrusion there. So something like that, just kind of like what we see here, right? Something, so this, you can see that this part's a little bit extruded out around this area, right? So that's kind of like what I'm trying to recreate there. Okay, let me see how it looks like when we gonna do a little render test. Alright, very nice. Now, I think it's a little too shiny, so we could, I'm gonna go ahead and rename this one shirt button extrude. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my shirt button color here, and I'm gonna go to my roughness. So in the roughness slot here, we could add a grunge. So I type in GRU, and then we could add one of these grunge material. So some parts are going to be shiny, some parts are not going to be that shiny. It just adds more variance to the overall shininess of our object, because that's how it is in real life. Some parts are going to be shiny and some parts are not, depending on which surface has been touched the most or not. And I'm going to go to my tiling for my roughness here. So for this, maybe, okay, I'm going to go to my shirt button. Yeah, for the tiling, I'm going to crank it up. Okay, so I have it at 32, which is better. And then we could also mess around with the settings for the parameters. So if I set the balance all the way up, we get a darker feel. Move to the left, it's not that dark. So mess around with it, depends on how shiny you want it to be. And let me see how it looks like when I render. Okay, that's better. It's not that shiny. So it looks like it's been used. Not bad at all.